Fashion Dreamer is a game that immediately caught my eye when I saw its first trailer. I do love me some good character creation in games, and with a general passion for fashion and design, a pretty new game on the Switch where that's the point sounded right up my alley. However, I also found myself questioning, okay, but what do you do? Was the game really just walking around in cyberspace, putting on clothes, and then walking to a different spot to put on more clothes? Well, I decided to get Fashion Dreamer and find out for myself. I want you to keep in mind going forward that this is a full-priced game at $50. I got it a bit cheaper with a pre-order sale and paired with some Nintendo points to lower the price a little, so let's see what exactly Xseed Games thinks is worth that $50 price tag. Let's first go over what you actually do in Fashion Dreamer. Right off the bat, you get to customize your avatar, called a muse, and I will say that there's a decent amount of customization here. Lots of skin tones and hairstyles especially makes the game delightfully inclusive. It's so nice seeing that people of color get more than the usual 3 skin tones and 2 hairstyles that they're often stuck with. However, there are a few nitpicks. First is that while they do already have an impressive amount of hairstyles, I continually lament the lack of extra long hair options. And I wish the bangs and the rest of the hair were separate categories to choose from. If even Pokemon can figure out that's a good option, I don't see why we don't get that here. And personally, I find that most of the makeup options look bad across all skin tones. Many of the more saturated options just looks like clown makeup. And for darker skin tones, many of the more subtle makeup options are impossible to see, and I do wish you could add scars to your muse as well. Once you're all finished with the character creation part, the real game starts, and it is really just walking around making outfits. And I will say that that is more fun than it sounds, especially early on. It feels a bit like a scavenger hunt as you frantically scope out the NPCs in the world to steal any good duds from them. See, the way it works is all you have to do to get more clothing items is like the article of clothing on someone else. This is nice, as you aren't limited by something like a budget. The only thing keeping you from being the outfit queen of your dreams is your own ability to hunt for what you want. There are some other ways to get more clothes though. One is the billboards that fill up during online play, which we'll discuss a little bit later, and one is from the gacha machines. Putting together outfits for the NPCs will net you rewards, which includes tickets for the gachas. These you are able to edit yourself, so if you find a cute shirt but wanted it in a different color, this is the best way to make exactly what would work for you. And doing so will also level you up, which will reward you with even more clothes to edit. This all creates a nice gameplay loop of running around to the NPCs to make outfits for them, and then taking a small break to make your own clothes, and then going back to running around. Though running is a bit of an inaccurate way to describe it. You are trapped at this brisk trot at the fastest speed, and I do often find myself wishing I could actually run, but it's a bit of a slow-paced game anyway, so it's not really the biggest issue to care about. You may have noticed that the bulk of the experience is centered around not necessarily dressing yourself up, but rather playing dress up with others. Interacting with the NPCs around the world of Fashion Dreamer is quite frankly the thing you do in this game. So it's a good thing that the collection of them are all fun to speak to for the short moments between throwing new clothes onto them. Each one is pretty distinct, and there's a goddamn million of them too, with a super wide range of heights, skin tones, and hair to work with, which is excellent. What looks great on one character won't necessarily work on another, which forces you to experiment with your outfits. And they will request different styles too, ranging from working with a specific color or theme to needing to accessorize around one of their articles of clothing. Enough variety to keep it from feeling too repetitive. Even though the prompts can get underwhelming after you've seen them all enough times, the challenge of working with each different character's look while also experimenting with your ever-growing collection of clothes can make it easy to go, oh, just one more outfit. And it's worthwhile too, as your friendship will go up with the NPCs as you style them. Getting high enough levels with them rewards you with more ways to customize yourself, and even will introduce more NPCs into the world, meaning a fresh new character to accessorize. That being said, I do find myself wishing there was more I could do with these characters. Changing their clothes is it. There is nothing else to the core gameplay, and I do find myself wishing I could engage with the NPCs I spend so much time with in any other way as well. Let us hang out, please. Like, listen, if I'm cool with the NPCs in Animal Crossing, Like, you don't need a lot, you know what I'm saying? Putting together looks for NPCs or taking selfies in-game will all net you points in the form of virtual social media likes. By getting enough of these likes, you'll unlock different worlds, called cocoons, to explore, and at first I was very excited by this, assuming that the different cocoons would offer different styles of clothes to work with. And while that is technically true with the gachas you can do, that's really it. I thought the NPCs would be decked out in different types of clothes, or would request different things depending on the cocoon, and no. They're all basically the same. NPCs do have preferred cocoons, but they can all be found in any of them, so it doesn't really matter. Really, the point of the different cocoons is to offer you different locations to take selfies in, and there are plenty of nifty photo op areas to work with, but it does make the different aesthetics feel surface level at best, paired with the nothing you can do with the NPCs once you've dressed them up, and the world of Fashion Dreamer ends up feeling like it has nothing in it. There are locations and cities in the background, but at best the whole thing is a set to pose for the camera in. The final piece of the gameplay puzzle is that you're also given a shop to decorate. This is where you can display clothes you've collected and made in a fun, cool way. NPCs can sometimes make their way in there, but the shop plays a much bigger role when playing online, so let's jump into discussing that element of the game. Playing online allows you to interact with other players across the world. It's not region-locked, so you'll be seeing lots of different languages, which is super fun. The main way gameplay changes for you while online is that amongst the NPCs will be other players' muses, and you can dress them up too and like their clothes, and you can check out the leaderboards to snag up all the cutest duds made by your fellow players. Passively, other players can engage with your items the same way. They can like pieces of your outfit or clothes from your shop, and I will admit that there is a good dopamine rush you get from seeing all the in-game social media points you get from these. Other players can also dress up your muse as well, which can be exciting. And I think that's a good cue to jump from detailing what you do in the game to what are my thoughts on it, and I gotta say, it leaves a lot to be desired. I've already lamented the lack of real gameplay, wishing I could hang out with the NPCs or get to see them interact with each other, how I would have preferred it if the different cocoons offered some real changes to how you approach the looks you put together, but okay, let's ignore that. The point of the game is fashion. It's in the title and everything, but even just looking at Fashion Dreamer as a character customization game, it sorta sucks! You can't be overweight or even just kinda thick, muscles aren't allowed, scars don't exist. It's dumb that in Fashion Dreamer, the world is inhabited by Mattel dolls, so if you wanted to have Guts be your fashion trendsetter, you're out of luck. But even as a less extreme example, if you're simply a girl with bigger hips, you can't accurately make yourself. Hair and facial structures aren't restricted by gender, which is great, but clothing is gender-locked, which is stupid. Why can't a girl wear this t-shirt? Or leggings? And it's especially bad for the boys who are given fuck all to work with, ignoring how lame it is that the guys aren't allowed to wear skirts, dresses, or thigh-high socks. Their clothing options are so limited. It's a sea of business casual and fugly-ass jackets. If you're lucky, you can find suits or fantasy-adjacent princely costume shit, but by and large, the fellas' options are ludicrously limited for a game coming out in fucking 2023. Like, just copy K-pop stars if you can't figure out how to style a boy yourself. We are in a world where men's fashion has evolved so far beyond what Fashion Dreamer provides that it makes the game feel archaic. The series used to be on the DS, and it's like they never bothered to model new clothes since then. I think to really drive home the point as to how well or poorly Fashion Dreamer does at the only thing it offers, character creation / customization, I posit this example. I cannot make Hatsune Miku in this game. There are pigtails, but they aren't right. This does not look like Miku, and if you don't offer me the tools to replicate a character as renowned as Miku, you're doing something wrong. I often just get the hankering to make characters in a video game, and Fashion Dreamer could have been the perfect solution for me. With new clothes given out for free and literally nothing else to do in the game, Fashion Dreamer should have leaned into having the most options to offer, downright thousands of different looks to work with, but instead, it's a frankly small amount of clothing options and a disappointing level of customization outside of the ensembles you can put together. Really, I have plenty of other games that offer at least this much customization, but then I can also play a real video game with it too. Fashion Dreamer doesn't have the gameplay to bolster its limited customization options. If you ask me, it in no way justifies the $50 price tag. I would suggest waiting for it to go on sale. This should have been at most $30. The first trailer for this game came out in February, and genuinely, I can't tell what they did in the 9 months it took to release. Probably spent all that time modeling the different cocoons that have nothing for you to do in them. With the online of the portion of the game already threatening to die due to lack of content in the game, all Fashion Dreamer really has now is the prospect of free updates, and boy howdy, they need to add a ton to the game for it to be worth it. Word on the street is they're looking to add a runway, which hopefully means fashion shows, so that's good. That's, you know, a thing to do, but really something like that should have been part of the base game, not an update happening nebulously in the future. Maybe after a year of updates, this game will actually be worth it. I can't deny that it's a fun enough distraction for when I want to do something with my hands while listening to something else at the same time, but it just is not what it should have been. If they didn't want more gameplay elements outside of the dress-up, they should have had more clothing and customization options. If they didn't want to put in the effort for more customization options, they should have had other gameplay elements to keep you satisfied instead. As it is, Fashion Dreamer offers neither. A stunted character creator that ends up feeling more like a demo than a full game.
That really constricts. It's not nearly the freedom that was advertised. Oh, hell yeah. You look so good. Turn to the side, it really... Wow.
My titties are all out.
It matches the jockstrap.
It does.
Oh, snap.
Oh my god, it's a full ballroom gown. You, Aaron, I'm keeping this. Holy crap, look at this. Okay, all right.
Be so careful.
All right.
You look real good, man.
I feel good.